aussi facile.
It's not very easy.
Avant de commencer, c'est pour la première fois que moi j'ai essayé de parler de quelques expériences malheureuses.
I have to tell you that it's the first time I'm trying to talk about my experience
qui passait dans la vie.
that happened in my life.
Parmi les gens qui étaient dans l'atelier ensemble avec nous, qui ont remarqué ça.
Among the people who were in the workshop with me,
malgré tout, on a baillé témoignages,
in spite of the fact that many people were giving their testimonies, telling stories that happened to them, if you could notice, I never spoke about that. It's just because I had so much to say. I live in an area, in a neighborhood that is very difficult. In the area of Grand Rue, Portail Saint-Joseph. This is where I was born and raised. I have lived the political turmoil of 2004. All the scenes of violence, I have lived and I've experienced them. I have still continued to live in that area. From 2010, I went to GOC University. I was a victim of the earthquake of 2010. I lost the use of my right arm. The image that my parents and my friends had, they have always kept that image of a strong woman. It has called on me to meet the demands of the society. Of course, you have lost the use of your arm, but you are a strong person, you have to move on, you have to carry on. So I had to suppress all the sentiments of fear and anxiety. It has taken me a lot of years to talk about that. To tell somebody what I lived in 2010. I've always been afraid to talk about that. When I go somewhere and I see that people feel sorry for me, it troubles me. With time and prayer, I have gotten back to normal because I'm a believer in God. I always believe that what I can't do myself, God will be able to do it. One of the ways I use to console myself, whenever I go to church, I cry. Some people may think, oh, she's being emotional, but it was the only way for me to set out that sadness. So we kept on living. A good friend of mine was killed in front of me, was assassinated. We were neighbors, we were always sharing stories together. When he died, my parents didn't want me to go and look at the corpse. But it's something that I was never able to accept, even though they didn't want me to go and see the corpse. So I sneaked out and went there and looked at it. That was a few hours after he died, because that was the only way I could tell myself that what they said has really happened, because I couldn't believe it. Sometimes I feel like
Son
blaming
bagay affaire qui
myself.
fait ça arriver.
I feel like telling myself, well, maybe it's something that I didn't do that caused all of that to happen.
Moun qui te parle avant, il dit de habiter la voie.
The person who talked earlier, events, said that he was living in La Voie for a short time, but I'm currently living there.
Ma vie la voie ensemble avec tout gang.
With all the gangs around me, all the gangsters around me. So from day to day, I see them, I pass around and they see me, I see them. Sometimes I'm afraid to leave the house, I'm afraid to leave the key because I don't know who I'm going to meet. But our biggest problem is because only women are living in the house. Just because they don't see any men in the house, so very often they visit us. So I always say that, okay, I'm the man of the house and the others are women. I try to stand as a man to talk to them and confront them. That's in my mind. That's my only way of self-defense. Prove them that I am a man. As a woman, really, but I represent a man. Maybe they could think twice before they do something wicked to me. In spite of that, it didn't help. We keep on living in a difficult situation. What hurt me the most during this period, I have my fiancé who were about to get married in 2 months. While we were talking on the phone, he went to visit his parents in New Ballet. He was on the way back home. We were chatting on the phone. While he was on the phone, we were chatting. I noticed that the chatting had suddenly stopped. And that was the last message. The driver was in a hurry and he was driving too fast because he was afraid. And he met people he was not supposed to meet. I kept on texting because I said if his phone was out of charge, he would have told me that in advance. Just because he didn't tell me that, maybe he will chat with me later. I kept on waiting, I kept on chatting, sending messages. After 1 hour, I have gotten no answer. I said, let me text another person. I texted people from Solfège and I asked them if they know about the word of New Ballet. A friend of mine called Martin said, we were not hear anything. And the next morning, a friend of mine called and sent me pictures. Because I said, if we were not living in that situation in Canada, he wouldn't have been in a hurry. It's because he was afraid that he was going through a gang area. He would not be in a hurry. That's the way he died, unfortunately. Just like every one of us here has a friend, or a family or a friend who have lost.
Même si je t'ai dit tout à l'heure, j'étais toujours la gueule dans la prière.
Just as I said earlier, I resort to